And I'm repeating it again, all the faculty coordinators from various colleges, I request you people to please take the front seats. Samiha from Deccan School of Planning and Architecture, please take the front seat. Yeah, you can sit in the, yeah. to please rise for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Thank you so much. So I, architect Sushmita Subudhi, on behalf of IIID Hyderabad Regional Chapter, take this opportunity to welcome you all to the 7th edition of I3 series. I extend a very warm welcome to Director of Academic and Planning, JNFAU, Architect Professor C.H. Srinivas Sir, IIID members, fellow Managing Committee members, Kriya Committee members, faculty and students from various colleges who could make it for this event. The Indian Institute of Interior Designers is the apex body for the interior designers in India and comprises of architects, interior designers, trade members, educationists, and students. The Hyderabad chapter meets very often for monthly fellowship events, workshops, seminars, technical workshops, outbound events, as well as heritage walks that seek to push the frontiers of the design world. So taking the same spirit forward, IID HRC is here to have its first I3 series, have its 7th edition of I3 series, and the first for this 2025-27 term, where practicing design fraternity will present their works and interact with the students and faculty from various architecture and design colleges. Now, for the ones who are attending it for the first time, we have something called the I5 and I3 series. I5 series is meant for the design professionals, where 5 design professionals share their journey in front of the audience, which is mostly professionals. I3 is a platform where the same designers come forward, share their journey with you people, that is the students. So it's a very special platform for IIID, and this is one of the best platforms where we get to interact with the students, and the students get to hear from the design fraternity. So we really hope that you people will have a very enriching and good experience with our speakers. I welcome you all once again to this I3 series and hope you all will have a great time. Please make sure you people have your questions in mind so that you people will be able to ask at the end of the sessions. So taking this forward, I request our chairperson, IID HRC, Architect N. Praveen Kumar, to please come forward and give the welcome address. Put your hands together to welcome our chairperson, IID HRC.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. It is truly emerging to be here with so many aspiring designers. At IIID, our mission is to bridge the gap between the professional world and the classroom. And the I3 series is a vital part of that journey. You are the future of our industry, and we are honored to contribute to your growth. This is our 7th I3 series, and it remains highlight for us an opportunity to connect with you directly. As you know, our Insider Showcase returns this June 19 to 21st, June 19 to 21st, especially for the Staptya Utsav workshops. This is scheduled on Jan 11th to 14th, which have been carefully curated specially for our student members. So we want everybody to be participated on that. And I want to thank our MC member architect Sushmita Subodhi for her initiative in uniting faculty coordinators from across the region to ensure a seamless experience. We encourage students to finalize their membership soon. Not to forget, the interior design questionnaire is happening day after tomorrow, that is on 30th. We want faculty coordinator to share 3 student members from each college to this regard. So we want every college to give 3 students to can be participate of this event. This is happening on 30th. And one more thing we are doing on the Design Excellence Awards. This is going to happen on April 24th. This Futures and Exclusive Students category, this first time we are trying to do this for awards, where the student members can be part of this competition. Our chairperson-elect and convener for the Design Awards, Architect Amita Raj, will provide further details on the competition. We're also delighted to announce that Geetham School of Architecture officially taken as an institutional membership, and IIID making a significant milestone in our partnership. And we equally thrilled to that CSI Institute of Technology School of Architecture and Planning is stepping forward to collaborate with us this event. Next. I'm deeply grateful to my team and the participating colleges for making this vision a reality. Hope you all have a great time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Architect N. Praveen Kumar, our chairperson. As he suggested, he has a vision towards integrating more and more of students with the design fraternity, and this is where he has brought in 2 programs which are going to happen almost back to back. One is the IDQ, that is the quiz which is going to happen day after tomorrow, for which the faculty coordinators have already been made aware of. And the second one, as he clearly suggested, about the Excellence Awards, which is going to happen. As he suggested, the final jury or the announcement of the winners will be done in the April month, but the entire thing is going to start here onwards. Amita, chairperson-elect IIDHRC, will be sharing the information later. So taking this event forward, I request now Professor C.S. Srinivasa, Director of Academic and Planning, to kindly come forward and share a few words, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. Indeed, it's a pleasure every time we have these events happening in our auditorium. And we have, like earlier speakers told, there are I5 and I3 series, and I3 series especially for students mainly. So students from various organizations and schools have gathered here and have a good time, try to understand the present trends in design, and that is from the real successful people. You can listen and get motivation and also interact with them, ask questions, don't sit passively, and ask questions and try to understand and interact with them. So it's a great opportunity which IIID is bringing for all of you, which you will only realize the value after you complete the course and once you start practicing. So much before that, you are getting this opportunity. Please utilize it 100%. And I really congratulate IIID for putting this kind of interesting activities together, especially for students. And this is one organization which has been doing a lot of activities, especially for professionals, students, and then even also taking care of the traders. It's a very, very comprehensive organization. So I really congratulate all of you, and let the program started before I don't want to take much time. Thank you.
Thank you so much for those kind words, sir. These are the words which actually make us do more and more for the students. So it means a lot. Coming from you is really worth hearing. So before we just start, it will just take another 5 minutes, and then we are going to hear from all the speakers who have come before you people. So they have been more than sincere to make sure that they are way ahead of their time. So we'll just take 5 more minutes. And I now request Architect Amita Raj, Chairperson-elect IID HRC, to kindly brief this IID Design Excellence Awards, which is going to take place. So for all the faculty coordinators to just hear it out and to pass it on to your student members to make sure that the message is conveyed clearly. So thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Sushmita. Warm welcome to all the speakers here, faculty and all the students. It's really nice to see a full house at IID's most popular student initiative, which is I3 series. So IID HRC Design Excellence Awards is a signature event of our chapter. And over the years, these awards has evolved in one of the most prestigious and sought after recognitions, celebrating excellence in creativity, innovation, originality, and inspiring professional practices in the field of interior design. This year, we are especially proud to introduce a dedicated student category for B.Arch and B.Design students who are IID HRC members. So if you are not a member yet, this is a perfect time to become one. Of course, Sushmita will take you through the membership details later. The student category this year is an installation design competition with the theme Unbound. So the theme invites you to think beyond boundaries, explore fluidity and new possibilities, while remaining firmly rooted in sustainable design. So participants are expected to propose a 1:1 scale installation, which will be showcased at our upcoming design showcase, which is Insider X, which is going to happen in June. Now there will be also be a two-stage jury process, and selected entries will receive mentorship and execution support, giving students the rare opportunity to see their ideas come alive. The detailed brief and guidelines have already been shared by Sushmita with all the student coordination, the faculty of all the colleges, and I think most of you must have read it. So please go through it, and just after the launch, this was shared with you. Go through it, and if there's any details, any queries, we can always address it in the end. But I like to highlight a few important details here. 10th February is the last date for IID student membership registration, but the sooner the better. I mean, don't wait till 10th. I feel immediately become a member so you don't lose time, and because the process of membership also takes a week, 10 days time, and I would request everybody to start with the process of becoming a member. I'm sure most of you must have got your forms today. Whoever has given it today, it's good. But there is also an online process where you can become members, and that is a little faster process. But whoever does online membership, we request you to share a copy of the form with us so that we have the record in with us. So online and offline both are available, but online is a faster, so you will save time with this. And I would like to, Srinath, can you just share I'll just run the form with you. The link of the form is with us so that you understand and there's no more confusion in that. This is the form which you get once you register. If you see, there is a student category. You have to just click there. If you see, this is the student category. Now, once you register, you get a project ID, which you have to enter here. Now, then you have to write the name here. All the details come here. So in student categories, we also have, it's not just for single student, you also have groups taking part in this. So we have allowed up to 6 members taking part in one category. So if you have more members in your group, you can always list out all the member details here. If you see, you have all the members. Member 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One person who can be the leader of the group can register with the registration fee, which is a nominal amount of 150 rupees. And the other member details will be put here with all the membership numbers. So if you don't have the membership numbers, you cannot register for the awards. And then you have this, these are the guidelines, and you have to have 2 A2 size panels which you have to, enter here. Then you have the high resolution photographs which you have to upload here, a PPT presentation, and maybe a personal profile. This is optional if you want to do it. And then a short video of the presentation of the project. If you feel a video can explain your design better or the concept better, you can upload a short video. This is also optional. So all these details are already mentioned in the design brief which is shared with you. Just go through it. Any queries, we can address it later. And we strongly encourage all students, all eligible students, members of IIID, to make most of this platform and participate. These awards are not just about winning, they're about curiosity and the courage to think beyond the obvious. So it's not just about whether I'm eligible, whether I'll be able to do better. Just try to participate and enjoy the experience. Whether you win or not, participation itself is a milestone worth experiencing. For those who are thinking maybe not this year, next year, I think, let me say this clearly, these awards are not just for toppers or final year students, these are for first timers, collaborators, team players, anybody who can gain this experience. We are giving you the platform. And also in the later you will be attached practicing architects who will mentor you, and it's really nice to see your design, your concept getting executed at a 1:1 scale, and you have mentorship, and also we will support you with execution. So that is what it is. Anybody excited still? No? Okay, takes time. So use this opportunity, test your ideas, engage with mentors, and gain exposure. And thank you, and look forward to seeing your ideas unbound. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amita, for this overall idea about how exactly this entire to happen for the students category. Amita ma'am is here. She is the convener of this event. So if you people have any kind of a doubt after this session also, you can come forward and get your doubts cleared. Okay, so without any further ado, I know it has taken quite a lot of time, but I'm sure intezar ka phal meetha hota hai, so you're going to have a very lovely session here. So to start with, we will have our first speaker of the day, architect Rajat Sanghvi, and to give the introduction about him, we have our MC Co-op member, architect Ruxana Chena. Please come forward.
Hello, good afternoon. Lovely to see you all here. Thank you, Sushmita ma'am. Our first speaker of the I3 series, the 7th edition, is Rajat Sanghvi. And he is the founder of Make Space Architects with his lovely wife, Nana. It's an innovative design studio known for its bold minimalism and human-centric spaces. With professional experience at the iconic Zaha Hadid Architects in London, Rajat brings global design sensibilities to contemporary Indian architecture. His work blends clarity, creativity, and precision, crafting spaces that inspire, function, and endure. So please welcome Rajat Sanghvi.
Just trying to work it out. Hi guys. First of all, a good afternoon to all of you. Am I audible till the last row there? All the backbenchers? I'm audible there? All right. So first of all, big thank you for IIID for having us here. Why I say us is because wherever I go, I represent my partner Nana as well. So yeah, you guys can read. We are Make Space Architects. I am Rajat Sanghvi. So yeah, when Amita ma'am called me up and she's like, boy, you have to present to students, I was really thinking, what to talk about. And then she's like, you talk about yourself. You cannot talk about the work which you're doing. And that kind of completely made me spiral off, because we designers generally talk about our work so much every day with the clients that talking about yourself becomes a little hassle. But when I went spiraling down, what sir was saying today, Mr. Srinivas sir, I think he left already. All right. Also, but thank you all of you for coming. The air conditioners were chilling us out. You guys are actually warming this space up. So thank you so much for coming in numbers. So yeah, Srinivas sir just told that, we miss or remember our college days, school days, to really go back to the root and think where we really transformed and where we became the people which we are today. I don't really bracket it as architects, designers, or anybody, but the human which we are today. And in the great words of Mr. Louis Kahn, when the engineering ends, I think architecture starts. And that's where kind of, today I want to talk about my inspirations throughout, where I started probably reading books, knowing the world around, people I came across, people who really inspired me to do things in life. It was not about design, it was not about career growth or whatever, but just certain inspiration who really built me to where am I today, and probably they'd be my foundation to go forward. So yeah, Mr. Leonardo da Vinci, he said simplicity is the ultimate sophistication, which kind of stayed with me since my 9th grade, where why do we complicate things? Then I understood to make something simple is the most complex job in the life. I came across something which is called as golden ratio, phi. Of course, everybody here would know that anything which is alive, anything which is in nature follows the principle of golden ratio. Also our spirals in architecture. So I had my own spiral in life where my golden ratio or my boxes of growth came from certain things which made me reach probably wherever I am today, and probably it will anchor me to go forward. So yeah, the first box was to tick up learn and unlearn. When we go ahead, I'll maybe talk about more about this. But yeah, the first one was always learn and unlearn, because you always, every day when you wake up, it's a new day for you. So you have to unlearn whatever you have learned yesterday, and learn the day. Just keep your ears open. Then minimal chaos. For us, that's working out. For everybody, it'll be different. For us, minimal chaos is something where, you have things, but in a very orderly manner. Then one more principle in life, which is change is the only constant. Before you know, things change. And yeah, all these three things work together for us to kind of corroborate something which we called as our philosophy. Of course, there's no concrete philosophy, because we again spiral down to change is the only constant. But today we practice simple complexity. There is no single reality, only frames of reference. It's getting too technical, but I think this will be more explanatory in itself, where everybody individually is a power system in themselves. Your eyes, your perspective defines where you look at the world from, and defines your work, defines how and where you want to be. So the same thing you look at from different angles would come or feel different to each one of us. Then another guy, Heraclitus, everything is in a state of flux, which again comes to the same concept of change is the only constant. Now, what changed in my life when we were talking about looking back? I look back when I was probably born, 1993. We were a family of 3. 2010, I'm jumping down to 2010, otherwise probably my young life would be of no interest to you guys. So yeah, 2010, why that bench? That bench is a very important stepping stone in my life, ironically. But I was an engineer. I was planning to do IIIT back in Kota. I did my entrance and everything, and then I was sitting with my father back at this bench in Kota, and I said, I feel I have something else in life to pursue. and that was designing, that was architecture, because somebody, I guess most of you would know about architect Nimish Patel. He's not there with us anymore. But he told me that if you want to have an unending approach of thought process where you are not defining anything, where there is no set rules for you, do architecture. And if you want to be a follower in life, become an engineer. That completely changed the thought process I had. And so I decided to pursue architecture. 2012, I was under this arch made by Mr. Laurie Baker, another inspiring architect, came from somewhere, settled down in Kerala, and completely transformed the way we look at architecture in India. And that transformed the way I look at architecture as well, because sometimes a little sensitivity, sometimes a little being yourself and making spaces for people you like, people you are making them for, you should like them, and the likable spaces you make then would be a neutral space which probably has positive, magic for everyone. So yeah, Laurie Baker was another guy. 2017, I finished my bachelor's, and another thing which is very, very special to me happened. I got into my dream college, or my dream institute for Masters, Architectural Association, London. So till probably 2016, as most of us are, I was an inherited builder. I always thought about column beams. I always thought about making extravagant designs. I always thought about how to make it bigger, better, longer, taller, probably more landmarkish. 2017, my approach to design completely changed when I joined AA, because they really taught me that process is more important than product. If your process is correct, if you've given it enough, automatically whatever comes out would be better than whatever you were capable of. 2019, kind of Makespace formulated because me and Nana got married. 2020, we started Makespace back in Indore. 2022, we became a family of 3. So change is the only constant. From a family of 3 in 1993 to 2022, a family of 3. There was a journey which is my personal. Now, Mr. Frank Lloyd Wright told space is the breath of art. That came into my life 2019. Pre that, because of course I've started dating my girlfriend then, and Nana, who was the chaos in my life, in my minimal life. So 2013, we met each other. And probably when we talk about design, we also talk about, as humans, what we learn through. Because our experiences, whatever, are very personal. And probably some part of that gets imparted in the designs we do. You know, same space, I'll give it to each one of you. The product might be different because of the exposure in your life, because of the conversations you had with people you have met, and the impact those people have made in your life. So that is why Makespace is, of course, both of us. 2017, Brighton Sea, we were deliberating what to do in life, because at that point, I was already a graduate of master's. I was planning to go in, I was actually going for a job there, and Nana was there. And we were thinking what to do in 2020, because she's like that. I would probably just think about today, but she'll think about 2025, 2035, 2045, and so on and so forth. 2019 at Nariman Point is where really we formalized what Makespace should be and how we are going to take it ahead. 2020, we started our small bespoke office where we started creating ideas for everyone who was just walking in. 2021, we expanded the office to Hyderabad as well. 2022, our team became bigger. And here we are, 2026, creating our minimal chaos for everybody in Hyderabad and India and the world. Another guide who's helped me a lot through my probably initial years of my pursuing engineering, and later to just formulate those building blocks in my life, was Mr. Nikola Tesla. To understand a new idea, one must break an old one. So that's what I do every day for everything I do. There's no concrete end to whatever I'm doing, and that's why it's never ending. Anything which comes to my table, I'm always deliberating, always working, always thinking about, probably there's another perspective to look at it. And that's where my journey from inception to completion happened. So, of course, you guys got a preview of what my personal life was, but probably towards where my design life was. So I was a builder to start with, as probably 30-40% of architects who come in to architecture would perceive that, okay, at the end of the day, I'll build, I'll create buildings, I'll make houses. Srinagar College of Architecture was my bachelor's, where I did my bachelor's from, and probably always on sites, always with my faculty, what they were doing on site. I was mostly never in the classes. You guys don't do that. But yeah, I wanted to tell my story, so that's the thing. Always on sites, learning things, exposure, what's happening on ground, probably just learning how foundations are really happening. No idea how the lintels are formed or sills are formed, but still trying to have those questions with the masons over there, who also did not have any idea about the technicality or technical terms. Then I did my internship with Mr. Hafiz Contractor, where I kind of became an inflated builder. My ambitions were skyrocketing at this point, because when your exposure is that, right? You are seeing probably, who's and who of the industry coming and sitting right in front of you. You are just probably sketching something, and probably the second day it's converting itself into a beautiful building. There I really learned one thing, which is a building is a sum of all. It is not a part of a whole. You have to always think about any space from micro level to macro level, how probably your smaller spaces function. And because again, in Mumbai, every square inch matters. Then, as I said, architectural association, or me becoming from a builder to an architect or a designer or a sensitive designer. Here, I formulated my initial ideas of probably logic-based thinking, right approach, at least personally, of course, right approach for everybody, again, perspective changes. But for me, how to really approach something very, very logically, make things more simple, try and de-chaos yourself, try and think more linearly. And then I joined IIID Architects as a research assistant to start with, where I, of course, got different kind of exposure, completely different as a tangent from A as well, because A, as minimal it was, Zaha was completely different. As she says, there were more than there were 360 degrees, in design, and you have to see it from all the sides. So yeah, Zaha happened. And then I came back, my change was constant, but again, certain anchors in life never change. So I came back to architect Hafiz Contractor, because in London I shifted to Norman Foster's, or Foster's and Partners as we call them. And he sent me here as an urban designer to work with Hafiz Contractor as a junior urban designer for Amravati, the capital city, which is still not done, as most of the projects we guys are also doing and envisioning in life. So there, of course, I learned the scale. I learned how demography, how semiology, which is about agent-based movement, really comes into play, where you're actually talking about how people are using certain spaces in the same time or different times, the same space throughout the day. And yep, that kind of gave all these learnings are, you could say, a joining factor to what we do at MSA today. So my inception to completion, and the guy who probably, except all the inspirations, who inspired me very, very personally, he was my thesis guide in Architectural Association, Mr. Patrick Schumacher, of course, director and principal architect IIID. He taught me all designs is communication designs. Now, what does that mean? Probably communication is what we are doing today. Some of you are listening, some of you are not. But then, communication is something which generally for a designer should be one way for a very long time, because we guys should be like sponge. We guys should listen to everything first, let it filter, let it brew, and then give your input, because by the time you might have an input, you already have a solution to it. Communication, what you do, screens don't help you. Always sites help you. The exposure, what you do on site, the kind of collaborations you do with people, consultancies, different kind of scales. Ideas could be again simple, but the implementation could be very, very different. Again, a little bit of glamour at the same time, because you're at Zaha. You would always meet people from different parts of the world with different thought processes. There you would really understand that what perspective is and how perspective shifts for an Indian coming into probably London and working to a firm, to an Iranian coming to a firm, to a US person coming to the firm, how perspective changes. The same solution would be approached in very, very different ways with very, very different approaches. And then realizing and seeing the work happening over there, how internally you, or you internalize a project and then you externalize a project. And when you have a thought process, again, process. So process, if it is straight, then you can have multiple products from the same line of thought. So yeah, from communication to then be a part designer or a research designer for City Life Milan. That was my exposure over there. Another guy from our alumni, Mr. Jean Noel. Architecture is not about rules, it's about exception. Again, the same line, change is constant. Rules are meant to be broken. If architects don't break their rules, nobody would have the courage to do it. So what are the rules? Back in A, in 2 degrees, we're experimenting with wax. Why wax? People would think this is dumb. We thought that when we were there. Why are we squirting, ton load of wax, making certain kind of organic shapes, trying to balance it out, making certain structures, binding it together. A lot of people don't know, but beeswax at its micro level has the same strength as an RCC structure. We also didn't know when we were starting it because our tutors did not tell us. They just told us make something out of wax. That got formulated later when we were doing research about semiology, when we were doing research about directionality. We were doing an office for Google in Manhattan, which was about, so the concept of the space was that there is no space. What does that mean? So Google had at that point started taking a lot of incubations. That is a lot of smaller companies they were digesting in and making a part of Google. And they did not really know how fast they'll expand. So they wanted to have a solution which expands in itself. Oh, it's done? I'm midway. Okay. I hope you guys are not bored there. So yeah, just moving forward, we were practicing at several solution, movement of people, how they would use the spaces, being sci-fi about those things. We were also envisioning how can we really move this, probably the same space, into different spaces, make them bigger, smaller. But then the idea completely changed. From a user space of 25,000 to 30,000 people, it became a space to be used by millions of them, which you can see today as Beijing Airport. So the same ideas, the same thought process, the same directionality on micro level just got exploded on a big level, on a level which we also did not think when we were working at it that it could be of this scale, or perceiving that process could be of such a bigger product. So yep, exception is something which you have to create through your process. Then now about us, I think this is enough to really sum us up, which is less is more. When we started connecting the dots from less, where we did our first place in Hyderabad, probably the most muted space you would see around, very, very few colors. Then we started adding up things in our palette also, started learning about how colors change the perceivance of the space, how we can take learning from every project we do, trying to balance it out with other projects which we are doing in different fusions, probably Indian, Moroccan, Mexican, learning from every community which we come across. Then again, venturing into a very separate thing which is commercial, but yet how to make it more cozy, how to make it more us. From there, probably balancing even more, going towards what we call as minimal maximalism, where things are put in a very minimal way, but everything you put is towards maximal. Then we scaled up, we started doing builders project, but our language didn't change. We still wanted to be minimal, we still wanted to be earthy. We worked in projects in US as well. Again, the same thought process to keep things simple, to keep things more towards canvas. So our belief is we build canvases and the curation is done by the people who are occupying those spaces. Even bigger projects, gated communities, clubhouses, villa communities, we are doing from micro scale, which is probably a office plan, to a macro scale, which is probably a 180, 200 villa projects. At all scales, our thought process is very simple and same. Give it all. So I would like to conclude on few things. First, of course, Mr. Peter Saville, design doesn't have to shout, it can whisper. So your design doesn't have to be loud, the designs doesn't have to do a lot. The design should make sense for the people who are occupying those spaces. The designs may not be Instagrammable, but the design should be loved by people you are making it for. And so we are creating designs which people inherit and they can call it their own homes. They can take it, they can keep it, they can conserve it, and then can pass it on to the next generation. We are making offices which has the same philosophy. So to conclude today, I have this guy telling you, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me here. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Rajat Sanghvi. It was really a pleasure hearing from you, and especially all the architects and designers who are there in this I3 series this time. They're all the youngsters. So the younger generation, so when you people think that you can become famous only at an older age, that is not apt, because that's something you're going to see with all the speakers who you're going to hear from today. At this point, we acknowledge the presence of Principal SPA, School of Planning and Architecture, Architect Professor Vinod Ganesh sir. Thank you so much, sir, for being here. So, taking this event forward, I'm sure there is so much to learn from Rajat sir, as students would agree to. All the names, big names you people always think about, be it IIT, he was a part of it. He quit because he wanted to be a part of a bigger organization, architecture, which is something he's interested for. And then he went to Architectural Association, again, which we all dream about. He was a part of it. Zaha Hadid, I'm sure everybody would love to work, would have loved to work with her. He was a part of it. Patrick Schumacher, who was a part of Zaha Hadid's association, who is also, he was a guide to him. So all the Hafiz contractor, all the ones here in India, you vouch for him, he has worked with him. Makespace Architects is the final destination he has made for himself. So a tremendous journey at a very young age, and there is more to hear from you at a later stage. Thank you so much, Rajat. Put your hands together. I think it doesn't hurt to clap. Thank you so much. Taking it forward, we always see an event of this kind when we have so many students involved, so many colleges involved, is not possible without just being us, you know. This is where the sponsors come into picture. So our first sponsor for the evening, we have AV of Darpan Furnishings. So I request you to kindly run through the... I request Mr. Suleiman Hirani to please come forward.
As students, we're taught to design spaces. We draft plans, we mark dimensions, we imagine how a space will look on paper. But there's a gap between imagination and execution. A gap only a real-world experience can fill. Because a drawing can show form, but comfort is something you feel. Texture is something you experience. And when feeling meets experience, it becomes the essence of living. This is where learning needs to move beyond the classroom. And one such place is Darpan Furnishings. Here, furnishings become a language, one that teaches scale, balance, and function. One that shows how materials interact with light, movement, and time. Here, students don't just see options, they understand choices. Why one fabric feels formal and another feels cozy. How upholstery changes posture and presence. How finishes define warmth, luxury, or ease. It's where styling stops being decorative and starts being intentional. Because furnishings aren't just an element of design, they are the final layer that completes the vision. And suddenly, a plan isn't just a plan, it's a space waiting to be lived in. At Darpan Furnishings, we don't see ourselves as just a brand. We see ourselves as a resource, a design library, a bridge between theory and practice. Because design doesn't truly come alive on paper. It comes alive when you step beyond the blueprint with Darpan Furnishings.
Mr. Suleiman here, Hirani is right here. So I request him to say a few words because he has something to offer to you people. So thank you so much, Suleiman ji, for being here, because it is really nice for students to hear from him.
Thank you, Shishmita. And it's wonderful to see so many number of students. And we are thankful for IIID to give us an opportunity to be a part of this student event. And we always are there for IID and students in whatever support they need from us. And today, as you see in the last slide, at Darpan Furnishings, we want to support the education and the schools and the students. So we are offering 3 things to all the design schools. We are already working with few design schools wherein we offer you an opportunity to come to our experience center and do a market research and do a market survey. And also we offer internships. We do college placements. And the most important thing is we offer a proper 2 hours to 2.5 hour session on styling, where you can understand the fabrics, the wall covering, the different kind of specialty fabrics and how you can use it. So this is an ongoing process. As of now, we are offering this program to 400 students per year. So all the design schools, they can approach us. We actually have a dedicated team for it, and we are ready to offer the maximum support, whatever we can, to all the schools actually who are here present today. Thank you very much and all the best.
Thank you so much, Suleiman Bhai. And this is the opportunity all the faculty coordinators should be taking it back to their colleges and then see how best you people can make use of this opportunity. So before we go through the second speaker for the day or evening, we will have a quick presentation on student membership and the kind of facilities or the kind of activities you get to do, and a sneak peek at the Sthapatya Utsav, which we did in the year 2024. So for all the faculty coordinators and the students who are present here, to just have an idea about what kind of activities or what kind of events you can be a part of. Obviously, as student members, you cannot attend each and every event of what as a IID member we can, but the events per se would be, that's the kind of vision we have for the term 25-27. As our chairperson, architect Praveen Nune, had already spoken about the Insider Showcase, which is going to happen from the 19th to 21st of June 2026. We have the Sthapatya Utsav, which usually happens 1 week earlier. So we are mostly looking at 11th to 14th of June 2026 as the dates for Sthapatya Utsav. It can vary a little here and there depending on the availability of the venue. So right now, just to have an idea, the MC members who are a part of the term 25-27. Now, IID continues to do engaging with associate affiliate members, trade members, society and authorities, and the student members' education. And over the year, with every passing term, we are trying to see for ourselves how best we can curate the event so that we can integrate the activities where we can involve more and more students into the design. So if you notice, these are the kind of activities. So this is where you have connecting the dots. Like events like I3 series or when you have sessions with designers are open for all the students, irrespective of you being a member or not. But the remaining part, like for instance, when you have ITQ, which is Interior Design Quotient, scheduled for day after, you have workshops, you have insider newsletter. This time AI in design is the theme. So if at all any student member who is interested can actually write, like so again, you can contact Amita, who is here right now. So you can ask for the kind of write-up you people can do. So you can write and whoever's will come out, like obviously all the papers cannot come through. The best papers can become a part of the insider newsletter also. All the competitions, again, we just now spoke about the design excellence as meant only for student members. The designer lens where we might arrange for some kind of a tour to some interesting building will again be meant for student members. You also have student volunteers where students get a first-hand interaction. They get to interact with designers at the Insider Showcase. So this is how the activities are actually meant for. So you people can be a part of it, but obviously every member cannot be a part of every event. This is where the faculty coordinators' role come into picture, where they have to see for themselves how best they can divide their students in various activities as and when it is going to happen. So these are the kind of events and workshops this Mr. Praveen's vision is for the term 25-27. So if you notice, this is how the event was last year in the year 2024, which took place in HITEX. And you can see how all the students have been a part of the valedictory function, which took place at the HITEX. Sorry, how do you... Okay, the sessions with designers, something which had happened last time also. You see that you have Peter Rich installation which was put up in the HITEX, and students were given a chance to have physical interaction where they could connect with the architect himself. That is Peter Rich. If you notice, ECHO, that is ECHO, Explore, Connect, and Explore, Connect, Harmonize, and Own. So this is a kind of online session which the chairperson has a vision for, where he wants to arrange for online sessions where different chapters, students from various chapters can be a part of it, and mostly it will be related to AI or other subjects. The Interior Design Quotient, this time again for day after tomorrow, our host is, or the curator is architect Geeta Balakrishna from Ethos. Insider newsletter I've already spoken about, I3 is what is shown here. Now, this is what we did last year, where we had almost like these kind of events where we had the inaugural function where the keynote speaker was architect Yatin Pandya. We had Anurag Khandelwal, where he did a workshop also with the students where Nesca came forward to help us through the workshop. We had architect Bobby Vijayakar, who helped us through an origami workshop. We had Manveer Singh, who's a hyper-realist artist who did some amazing charcoal work. We also had a mural workshop, which was done with Sumani. And we had architect Peter Rich, whose installation I just showed you through. And the main sponsor during that particular event was N. Fabustone. So you can see how exactly the inaugural ceremony had taken place at the NAC auditorium. This is the workshop where the Nesca had helped us to work through a bird shelter. And that's Anurag Khandelwal. Bobby Vijayakar, and usually the idea is whatever works you people do during the workshop is usually put up in the HITEX exhibition. So there is a small little student corner which is given, not small little, it's a pretty huge corner which is given to the students' work. So whatever you people do here is displayed as a part of the main exhibition showcase. So these are the kind of works. So the elephant that you see here, that is all done by the students. So that was a group work. Where the charcoal work was done, it was led by architect Manveer Singh. You can see those were the kind of works which were done by the students. You can see the murals which were done in collaboration with Somani Tiles, and all these works were put up in the exhibition. There were competitions also which were a part of it, the comic strip and the design competition. You can see how exactly the work was put on display there. The installation by Peter Rich. Now the student volunteers who become a part of it, and eventually they become part of IID. And these all are the benefits you get when you become a part of IIID and you become a student member. But always remember, student membership is only for a year because renewal happens every single year. You cannot take it for 3 years or 2 years or things like that. It's meant for a year only. This is the valedictory function which had taken place in 2024. And we are proud to announce, as Chairperson Architect N. Praveen Kumar has already mentioned, Geetham School of Architecture is the first institutional membership holder from the term 2025-27. So put your hands together to, like, this is where we announce that Geetham School of Architecture has already taken institutional membership, and next in row is CSIIT School of Architecture and Planning. So that is where both the colleges now are coming forward, and we wish and look forward to many more partnership in the coming years to come, coming months to come for that matter. And our sponsors and exhibitors who have been a part of IIID student members. So thank you so much for your patience, and I hope all the faculty coordinators here and the students have got an idea about the kind of events we have been doing. So we look forward to many more in the coming days to come, and we look forward to the Insider Showcase or the Sthapatya Utsav, which is scheduled to happen in the second week of June. Thank you so much. I know it took a while, but I just had to tell this because that is how I tried motivating all the faculty and the students to come and then listen and to know the kind of activities we've been doing. So taking the day forward, I request Architect Amita Raj to please come forward and introduce ID interior designer Meghna Nimagadda. Put your hands together, please. I don't have to repeat it. I can only hear it from the front row. Thank you.
It's indeed a pleasure to introduce Meghna Nimagadda, our second speaker. She founded Design Tales in 2016 with a motto to add beauty to the world around her. And she's living this dream one project at a time. With a bachelor's degree in engineering from BITS Pilani, Dubai, and a master's degree in interior design from Pratt, New York, Meghna has the ammunition to design spaces tastefully and artistically while also taking care of functionality. She believes an efficient design tells a story without compromising its usability. She is bold and experiments with various design styles to ensure each project is as beautifully unique as her clients. She delicately balances comfort and art and has worked on many projects where the client continued to make memories and live artistically. A little bit about her company Design Tales. It is an interior design studio based out of Hyderabad, providing customized design solutions to a wide array of spaces, ranging from residential to hospitality, retail, and commercial. The studio believes in designing spaces around a poetic concept that aims to tell stories of people and brands from a human-centric perspective. It works closely with vendors, contractors, designers, and consultants to tailor each detail that fits the concept. With its attention to detail and commitment to doing right by the client, Design Tales has executed over 32 projects across South India. Driven by the core values of design, details, respect, and experience, Design Tales aims to bring clients' vision to palpable reality by creating a joyful experience for all parties involved along the way. So please put your hands together and welcome Meghna Nimagadda.
That was a long intro. I think it's from my IIID series. Hello, everyone. My name is Meghna Nimagadda. I'm the principal designer and founder of Design Tales. First of all, thank you. Thank you to IIID and all the sponsors that have given us this platform to share our knowledge and our learnings, because it's very important what you said earlier about bridging the gap between reality and the classroom. And I think you guys are doing a great job. When I was asked to speak at the I3 series, the first question I asked myself was, what is the problem that I'm trying to solve by doing this today? And unfortunately, the answer was alarmingly clear. I've noticed that of late, a lot of students freshly graduate with a lot of passion, but within a year, I'm finding some students quitting design altogether, and this is a very big problem. And I think it's not because they're not talented. I think it's just because they're not prepared for what's to come. There is a reason why our critics are extremely harsh during presentations. It's to prepare. They're literally preparing us for war, because that's what it feels like. And so I wanted to, so this presentation today is not really about motivating you. It is really a survival guide, because it takes a long time for you to finally find your direction, find your space, and then start enjoying design. So this is just me sharing my 10 years of knowledge, learnings, and so hopefully you don't feel alone when you're going through all of this that we've been through. A little bit about the company. I started this in 2016 in Hyderabad. And it started with a simple belief that design is not just about what it looks like, it's about what it feels. And 10 years later, I can say that we still stand by this belief. It is, of course, extended to different aspects of the studio. It is about how the employees are feeling. Are they feeling valued? It is about the vendors, how they're feeling. Are they feeling respected? And the contractors, of course, are they feeling respected? So the driving force is still very human-centric. It's about how somebody feels through the entire design process, including the client. Then a little bit about me. I was 16 and I had to decide. First of all, I think it's very early when we have to decide what to study. I think in India we have to make that decision, unfortunately, at 16. And a lot of people just, the options are very clear, and I wanted to study design or architecture. But like most typical Indian parents, my dad asked me to study engineering first, and then he said I could pursue whatever I wanted. So I joined BITS Pilani, Dubai for engineering. And in my second year, I knew that's not what I wanted to do. But I'm not a quitter. I wanted to finish. So I graduated, and immediately, I didn't even wait for my graduation ceremony. I missed it because my orientation had started. So I went to New York. I pursued interior design. So over the last 10 years, I've had multiple moments where I felt like this could have been easier if I had architectural background, or I didn't have to learn this the hard way. But in hindsight, I wouldn't change a thing, because like Rajat earlier mentioned, I think it's very interesting when in design school, all of us have the same theoretical knowledge, and we're all given the same design problem, but everyone approaches it very differently. I always found it fascinating. I think who we are as designers is a culmination of everything we've seen, done, and exposed ourselves to over the course of our life. So it's the neural networks that are being formed in your brain, and the way that they do is because of your upbringing and your culture. So I wouldn't change a thing. I am very happy that I studied engineering, because it really gives me a very practical approach to life. It gives me structure, whereas design education gives me creativity. It gives me, the freedom of thought and really explore emotion as a concept. And I think there's a huge difference in the life experience as well, like between Dubai and New York. Dubai is very flamboyant, as we all know. Like, there are revolving towers, underwater restaurants. I really got inspired as to how wild your thought process could be. And then I went to New York when things got really hard, and it was real. Every square inch, every penny mattered, every second mattered. People were running around, and it was so new to somebody from Hyderabad All of us have our own standard time. We just assume half an hour late is the actual, the right time. So it's very interesting to see how people were running around trying to keep time. So their whole experience itself was very different, and it truly shaped who I am as a designer. So lesson one, the one with the struggle. So let me clarify that in hindsight, all of this looks very glorious. When we give these presentations, we obviously show you all the nice things, but let me tell you, it's not that way. At least in the first 1 year, I have cried almost twice a week. And it is not easy because my work experience wasn't here. I've only worked in Singapore and New York. And it was my first project. This is actually my first project, the one on the left. And I thought as a designer, my job ended when I was issuing the right drawing. And 2 days later, I go to the site only to find out that the drawings haven't even come out of the bag, of the contractor. He was doing his own thing. And then it was literally a slap in the face kind of a wake-up call. I knew things were, very different here. And that was my lesson number one. And to top that, because I didn't study here, I didn't have an architecture community to rely on. I didn't know how to find vendors. I didn't know how to find contractors. And I didn't have any contacts because everybody in my family, I'm from an army background and then business. So nobody was remotely in a creative field. So that was really difficult to kind of, not have any support. So in hindsight, my learning is that you should work for another design firm for at least a few years. I think that is one thing I would have done differently because it expedites the whole journey by 3 years. And I think Rajat did a great job, I think, in doing that. So that was my learning. But there was also a lot of good. Even amidst all the chaos, I was able to travel a lot. And while doing this presentation, I actually went back in time and then just tried to see what I did during those years. And interestingly enough, I did a lot of travel. Today, if you ask me, obviously I'm not that young. So if I can only do either work or either enjoy life. I think I'm not able to do both. I think eventually that's a learning. Maybe 10 years later when I'm giving this speech, maybe I will share how to create balance. But yeah, so I was literally all over the place, like Milan, London, Scotland, every show from ACE-Tech to Milan Fair, I've been to everything. And I was asking myself the right questions. It was not just entertainment, it was not just pleasure. Everywhere you go, notice the small details. How is that tile joint being addressed, or how is that tile meeting the stone, and why is it done that way? These are the questions, and these are things that nobody teaches you, right? Like you have to keep an eye out to noticing these details, so you're learning while enjoying as well. And then finally, I was embracing chaos, and COVID hit. So I really was stressed because, first of all, I was up and about. I was doing a lot of things. I was traveling, and then suddenly it was a standstill. It was everything was standstill except for the salaries we had to pay and the rent we had to pay, and it was like a really stressful space. It's okay, but it was just the uncertainty that was really stressing me out at that point. But a lot of good also had come. We were working on a few projects, and luckily they were all in design phase, so we gave it a lot of time to design. And I think I got clarity on my direction because I had the time to really think about what I wanted to do. Up until then, I thought residential design was not what I wanted to do, that it would be a stepping stone. I always wanted to do commercial, hospitality, because you had more space to kind of experiment with concept. But just around that time, we had done a mattress store. And I remember just within a year, they had torn it down. And I went into an existential crisis as a designer because we are using a lot of natural resources. And I was just, really disheartened by how it got torn down in just a year. And it was also COVID, so I was following some of my clients' stories, and I saw a lot of people was doing birthday parties at home and stuff like that because they couldn't go out. And I saw this picture of my client's kid's birthday and being celebrated in a space we had created. So somewhere in the background. And that moment, it really clicked that residential was what I wanted to do because it truly added meaning. I think there's something beautiful because space is very integral to memories. And if you're able to create those spaces for people, somewhere it becomes immortal. So since then, I've never looked back. And through this process, I also learned the power of a good client. And somehow, actually, I was attracting a lot of young, newly married couples. You know, it was their first home, and the hopeless romantic that I am, I was really enjoying the process because we were part of the journey of their first home, right? Building their first home, and that was really meaningful to me. And I realized the power of a good client because, like, a good client can really fuel your creativity. Like, you want to do more. Even if they're not asking, you want to give like 3 more options because you're so full of passion. But a bad client can remove all your energy out of it. You don't want to give any client, forget about that client, you don't want to give any client any kind of options. So, but at the same time, I don't want to be the person telling you, in the beginning of your career, go around dropping clients. You have to tolerate a lot more in the beginning of your career, not for the client's sake, but your sake. Then yeah, the lesson number 3, before COVID had ended, one more realization I've had is that I was constantly reacting to things. Had no control. I got a project, I was working on it, and but moving forward, I knew I wanted to take control of things, and I knew as a studio owner that I could not do all of it at once. So I picked one aspect of my studio that I wanted to focus on every year, and obviously it started with design, because if you figure out who you are as a designer, everything else aligns, like your vision for the studio, the vendors, the processes, the target market, everything is aligned with your vision. So yeah, this has been a great year. We had a lot of projects, and I was extremely grateful, and I was extremely honored to have won 3 awards in IIID. That was extremely overwhelming, and I think service industry is such a thankless job, so it's nice to have a pat in the back saying, oh, okay, you're doing something right, and I think all of us need that time and again. So yeah, as a designer, I've never believed in my projects. Okay, so let me put it this way. I've never believed that my projects had to show that I was the designer, meaning that they had to reflect the client's design language and taste, and not mine. But like it or not, a lot of people have said there are some commonalities. So I have been trying to understand what it is that I'm naturally inclined to, what I don't like and what I like, and why. Because it is important after 5 or 6 years of your career to see who you are as a designer. And one thing I'd like to add is, I think students these days, or fresh designers, they're too quick to decide who they are as designers. Don't do that. Just use your 5 years of your career in the beginning to explore different ideas, work for different philosophies, and then you see in hindsight what it is that you liked, because otherwise you're just drawing this box and you're not willing to come out of it too quickly. Then there was getting obsessed with design. There's always that line you should not cross, and we've crossed it across all the projects. We wanted to customize everything, anything and everything. And so in hindsight, I probably would have toned that down a little bit. Like, for example, this play area where he designed, we customized that bunny, we customized the tiles, the light fixtures, everything. The acoustic panels were customized. And this wardrobe panel, like, we designed the pattern as well for that. I don't think, and I also caught myself solving things that didn't need solving, right? Like, if something's working, just let it be, and make a list of things that need design intervention and list of things that don't. Pick your design moments. That's what I would do differently in hindsight. The one with the OCD. I can tell you that this was the most important year of my professional career. And I know the word OCD is thrown around very loosely, but I mean it when I use this. We were mental with creating structure and discipline because there's no way to grow if you don't figure out a structure for your studio. And it is very different for different people, so don't go work in a company and figure out that that's the structure you want to follow for yourself, because it needs to come from who you are as a designer. And yeah, and I had become a bottleneck, honestly, because at that point I was doing everything myself. I'd go for selections, I'd be doing the admin work, I was raising the invoices, and I was reviewing the drawings, you know, correcting these papers like I was a teacher. And then I realized that I had become a bottleneck, and that's not the way to grow. So I started firing myself from different job roles in my own company. Started with admin, started with accounts. But the biggest pivoting point was when I fired myself from site visits. And today I confidently tell my clients, you hired me for design, let me do design. Let somebody else who's very technically sound do the site visits and operations, and that's when I have the time to design. Because what had happened is when you're working on that many projects at once, in the middle of the day, you find yourself with 1 hour to finish a design task, right? I actually had, like, the moment I realized was, in my list of, say, 15, 20 things, one of the tasks was design the first floor of so-and-so villa. And I'm like, that's not how design works. And that's when I knew I need to put systems in place for everything else, so I have time to actually breathe and design. And unfortunately, we had to do all of these, all the realizations, all the systems, everything had to happen simultaneously. We couldn't tell the clients, listen, give us 2 months. We are figuring out systems, and then we'll come back to you with a better way to do this. That's not how it works. So we had to do it simultaneously. So how we did that was, at the end of every project, we'd sit down with the whole team and understand where things went wrong, what were the hurdles, and how not to repeat them, and how to tweak. Even if it was the vendor who was at fault, we don't go around blaming. We try to create a very specific, detailed docket. Sometimes it's also crossing our scope of work, and it is their scope of work, but we don't mind, because in the end, my eyes were on the big picture. I wanted to create a good customer experience where every touch point is very seamless. So that was the goal. This was last year. The one with intentional growth, and I'm saying intentional growth because growth means different for different people. If money drives you, go ahead and do it. If design drives you, go ahead and do it. If, for some people working with different clients on a daily basis, that is the driving force. But don't follow a path that has already been taken because it's clearly mapped out. Just create your own journey. And last year, we were fortunate enough to do 3 commercial projects. But what I've realized is that they're very demanding because the timelines are very chaotic. So we decided that we'd be doing only 1 commercial project at a time. So that's not something everybody would do, but it had to come from a place of the kind of studio that you wanted to build for yourself. And I knew I wanted to create balance. Another realization I've had is when I talk to my friends who are in business or creating products, they've always mentioned some kind of milestone, like in 5 years, I want to put things in place so I can exit, or I can sell this company and then I can move on. But unfortunately, in design fraternity, that's not how it works. Your studio is golden as long as you are in it and working. And so I had to find a way to live my life parallelly along with being a design entrepreneur. So I wanted to create balance. And the step 1 of that was starting from my studio. So last year I had declared 2 Saturdays off every month. And 1 Saturday we definitely go out and, just get some food, get some drinks, and joke about all the tough things that have happened at the site. And what it does is that the groundwork, the field out there is really stressful, so your studio doesn't have to be. We try to kind of inculcate a feeling of positivity. We kind of joke around about the mistakes we've made in the previous project, and so they feel safe to kind of share those mistakes and ask the right questions and grow from it. And studio culture has been on the back of my mind for a very long time, but I always thought we're not as big as Google, you know, we don't need to work on studio culture, but it is very important and it has changed things a lot. And yeah, like what I've mentioned, define so what success means to you. Don't blindly follow what you're seeing. Getting published and all of these are outcomes, they are not the goals. Don't design for magazines, don't design for social media, design for the people who are using these spaces. And another thing I want to mention, because social media is like just everywhere, it dictates our life pretty much. And what these people want to do is to put us in boxes because it's easier for them to target us with the ads. So don't try to fit in those boxes, just explore who you are as a designer. So yeah, I'd like to end with the note. The future belongs to those who learn from the past and live intentionally in the present. So if you ever feel stressed or alone, I hope at least 1 or 2 lines of this speech you can think of and know that you're not alone. We've all been there. So stick around. You will get to a point where design is enjoyable. It's just a matter of few years. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Meghna. So the first speaker was into IIT and then he shifted towards architecture. The second one pursued her engineering and then she went on to interior design. And then you can see the kind of struggles. Like, it's really nice to know the kind of struggle every individual has to go through. So it is not always everything, you know, a bed of roses, as you say, that everything is really very nice and there is nothing to struggle about. So thank you so much for sharing your journey, and then I'm sure there is enough for students to take from here, from your presentation. We'll have the second sponsor for the evening is Elevate X. So we'll just go through the AV quickly. Last but not the least, our final speaker for the evening is architect Anuja Dhopade. And I request our honorary treasurer, IDHRC, architect Naveen Kumar Chalsani, to come forward and introduce her. Thank you. Before I could say, thank you.
Yeah, good afternoon. Architect Anuja graduated with Bachelor's of Architecture from JNUFA in 2011. She began her professional journey with architect Abhay for 6 months, followed by nearly 8 years of experience with architect Sudhir Reddy at Kritika Architects. She later established her own practice with focus of architecture and interior design projects, especially in private residential, farmhouses, single dwelling apartments, and villas. I'd like to call architect Ranjita.
Okay, right, thank you. Hello. Hi, everyone. Like Mr. Naveen introduced me, and my journey began right here from this auditorium about 20 years ago when the counseling happened, and I got through to architecture. And well, 20 years almost, and I'm here now, and I'm going to present about my journey so far as an architect. And well, my studio is called Atelier DA, and we specialize in residential architecture. And okay, I'm quite nervous. Let me start off. First one, my journey before what I've written over here started right here in this college. So life in JNA FAU, back then it was actually JNTU. It was pretty laid back on some days and pretty hectic on other days when we had submissions. So this stage of my life, my journey, I would say I subconsciously decided to be a sponge, absorbing knowledge through lectures, competitions, submissions, fests, or even just conversations. So I was always open to just absorbing everything. And unlike the journey from what I've heard about both the other speakers, I always wanted to be an architect, right from when I was probably 10 and I had heard about this profession. And I didn't know anything much about it, but every time I would hear about the word architect or architecture, I would read about it, and all I knew was I wanted to be an architect. And today, living that dream feels very surreal. And to top it off with that, coming to this auditorium feels like a full circle. Okay, there's a lot to talk, but I'm getting a little nervous. I have VG sir right here, with whom I've actually learned. So I think some of you are familiar with the pictures from college days, right from NASA days, the college fests, and just general submissions or something. So that really added up to just exploring yourself in a creative way. It had nothing really to do with architecture, I feel, back when I see. It was just to explore yourself and understand who you could be as a designer. And when I look back at it, it did definitely help. So whatever you guys are doing right now, I think just be yourself and explore and make sure that you are involved in whatever you're doing. This is the next milestone, which was at Kritika Architects. That's, I would call him my mentor, Sudhir Reddy, with whom I really learned and worked on a lot of projects. So over there, what I actually learned was to apply whatever technical basic knowledge that we have been taught here in architecture, and realized how different it is practically from what it was taught to us in college. But at the same time, the basics always are there. So you make sure that you do focus on whatever you're doing. I'll probably just read it out, sorry guys. um, so after trying to apply the knowledge acquired only to realize how different it is from just theory, this stage I would call as the formative years of what kind of architect or designer I wanted to be. And with that insight, I think I got more observant, and with the guidance from the principal architect, I could develop my perspectives towards various aspects of space making. God is in details, or devil is in the details, you can call it whatever. But the important point here is details are the most essential part of designing. And without that, you definitely can screw up whatever you're doing. So the other inspirational figure for me has been I.M. Pai. One of his quotes, which I would say is, architecture is a programmatic art. To become art, it has to be built on a foundation of necessity. So for me, essence of architecture is you build it to create spaces for whoever it is. Humankind or whatever space it is, you need to justify that for whoever the end user is. So I do believe in that. These are some of the projects I had worked on while I worked at Kritika, which taught me not just detailing, but also how you approach a design brief along with multiple factors such as site conditions, material preferences, bylaw interpretations, and Vastu, among other more minute things. And from all of these learnings, I could finally have some of my design philosophies defined. One, think global, act local, and it's the process that matters. So think global, act local. How does this work? At every stage of design, I try to keep the vision, the final output in mind, but I'm flexible to experiment with available techniques of construction or with easily available material. So it's not necessarily think global, act local in the sense just materiality. It could be construction, it could be what the client would want, some sentiment also could come into that. But have the bigger picture always in mind. Don't deviate from that is one point I would like to say. And then when it comes to the process that matters, I think Rajat had also mentioned about that point, and I felt like both of you have spoken a few of the points I wanted to. It's the process that matters. When I say that, to explain that, I have an analogy. You write the program correctly in computing, and you will generate the correct result. So just the same way, at every stage of designing and construction, having the details worked out in sync with your conceptual idea will definitely generate an output that will complement your idea. So yeah, you just have to follow the process, and you don't have to worry about the final result, because if you do, it is definitely going to be a great output. Some other points that I am considerate about would like to tell you are also to keep in mind. Listen to your client, like requirement, the ask, whatever it is. Because client, like really, if you listen, it will definitely give you a more in-depth insight of what is it that client is perceiving. Because they not always know the right words to explain, but to understand the requirement in terms of the experience you're asking for, will be half the design resolved. Um, yeah, I guess. And the other point or the other philosophy is the big wow experience that we're always always going to be working on. Sorry. Uh, Focus not only on the overall defining experiences or the wow experience, but also on every small interaction and moment that happens through the space. That's another of the design philosophy. So these are some of the pictures showing some of the mock-ups and the models and on-site client interactions. So uh, uh, it's part of the process. I do have now some of the projects which we've worked on I'll be talking about because my journey, my understanding of who I am as a designer was through every project, and every project taught me a lesson, an insight, and brought me to a stage where I can now design projects which reflect a certain philosophy or a certain aesthetic. So this is the first project, and in this, if you see, the major project was, this is actually a project which was built 3 years ago, and the client came back to us with an extension block, and we tried to experiment at the same time, keep the basics similar. So that Aranya extension is the new block, which was just a forest earlier, but we created another block there. The original one is in a village-style farmhouse. So these are all of that. And this is the newer block where we try to work with the materials, but try to keep the language or the form of the structure to be the same. This is another project where this is called the H house, in which, so actually from the previous project, the learning was to be open and work on, like I said, the think global, act local. In that the local or the more think global, act local. In that, the local part was about working with the local masons over there and trying to give sort of like a job to them and working with them on the mock-ups and making sure that it gets done in the right way. Coming to the next project, this is the Edge House, in which we had experimented based on clients' requirements in terms of the form-finished walls. And the other aspect was also about having high-rise buildings all around and creating a private home, but the project or the site did not allow us to really go with a central courtyard sort of a thing. So what we did is we created that H shape and had 2 courtyards on either side. And well, that you see how the experience has been, and you can see the real-time, that's the render and the real-time pictures of that. So sorry. Acha. Oh, okay. That's all right. So this project is still going on. It's been already 6 years. And the lesson I've learned here is you need to put your foot down sometime, and now it's moving forward. Just the pictures, it's at the semi-finished stage for almost 2 years now. This is the third project. This is Twin Houses, this is in Vizag, and the program here was quite huge. It was a joint family with a lot of people having a different space within and then some common spaces, so that's like a sectional understanding of how that is. Created some double height spaces to have the connect, at least visually, between the different families were there. So the lesson here again was how to interact with a lot of people, but definitely have one point of contact rather than talking to everybody in the project who's involved. Yeah, some of the views of that. This was something I came up with after a lot of learnings throughout the process. So a perfect project could be defined between the three factors, which is the client, the design, and the site. Client being the major factor, where the time, the budget, vastu will matter, and design, the user experience space, site is the coordination and the challenges that would be there. But unfortunately, most of the time is the design that takes a backseat because client doesn't want to compromise on those three factors. And site, well, it has to be done the way it has to be done. So we end up compromising on the design aspect. But being open and flexible and accommodative towards client requirements can still get you to come up with an experience that would still add to a great experience. And finally, the whole my journey once again, just putting across. Till 2011, it was all about absorbing the knowledge possible. Then till 2017, learning the knowledge in a practical way. 2019, taking steps to apply it on your own, and present the journey shall continue in the sense, believe in yourself and have faith in whatever you're designing. Don't get nervous like me, I would say, first thing. But just to give you guys an advice of what the architectural practice does is just have, like I said, have belief, have faith in your ideas. Don't let anybody take it away from you. Yeah, faculty will be there to criticize, just to keep you prepared. But instead of getting discouraged because somebody has criticized, try to figure out a way to make it work. That is all that matters. If you need to be original, if you need to be part of this this fraternity or this sphere of life, we call it, the design or designer, you need to have that faith in yourself. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anuja. So I can see, for a matter of fact, how a student can be in front of the faculty. So that is a very different experience altogether, because I know a very different Anuja otherwise, be it on the cricket field or be it in the I5, which I have witnessed. But thank you so much, Anuja, for sharing your journey with the students, and obviously there's so much to learn from the students as well. So this is where I request all the three speakers to come forward. Obviously, time is running out. We'll just take a few questions from the students. I would request... in the meantime, we'll just run the third AV, which is of Stella. So we request Sheena to just run through it. And in the meantime, I request all the speakers also after this to come forward, and the students just be prepared. We cannot take a lot of questions. 2 each, or maybe put together 5 questions we'll take. Thank you. Oh, I request all the students to please be seated. It's just a matter of few more minutes. Do you want the question and answer session or not? Yes? I can see thumbs up. Okay, fine. Can I request all the 3 of you to please come forward? And we'll just take through the mic through the hall. Whoever has the question, please raise your hand. So we are towards the end of the session today. So anybody, any question, please raise your hand. We'll come to you. Yeah? I saw a thumbs up here. Do you wish to ask? Anybody, any question? No? I didn't know this crowd is so quiet. Anything, anybody? From the MC?
This is for Meghna. So I just keep following your Insta and everything. How you apply all these pastel colors in a different, I could see all the projects in different colors, different tones of pastel. So how you finalize with the clients? That is the very toughest right now with the clients.
Is the question how I'm convincing the clients? Actually, a lot of times the clients come to me seeing my Instagram page. So I think I think our taste is aligned in the beginning itself. And to be honest, I'm not very happy that I'm put in that box because I hear that a lot. And in fact, recently I tried for my own house. I tried to fix on a blue color that I've never used before and see how I can pair it with different colors. I guess we're all trying to do things differently. We're never satisfied as architects and designers. We always want to do something. You don't want to be defined by anyone. But yeah, I think a lot of times that's what Instagram is for. Like when people come to you, your taste is always aligned. Otherwise, you go to a store, you like something and the client hates it. And that's always a fix to be in. So.
Yeah, this is architect Vasu here. This is for Anuja again. I don't want to make you nervous, but you have worked with architect Sudhir.
Yes.
And a very confident architect, and we know what kind of work he does.
Yeah.
So what are the challenges you faced while you were working with Sudhir? Because there's a lot of detailing works which
Yes.
happen in that office.
Yes.
Yeah.
So actually, I don't think I faced any challenges except getting time with him to discuss design, because we were always in sync in terms of understanding and uh, just understanding whatever is the requirement. So detailing per se, there was never really any challenge. It was literally just waiting for him for hours to be able to have a design discussion. And the detailing by itself was really fun, actually. Like, you know, coming up with different ideas and making sure that whatever is the situation, be it a handle detail, be it a door detail, be it some rainwater, waterproofing, or whatever it is, it was always fun working with him.
Yeah, and what message would you give to the students who wants to join Sudhir?
Have patience.
Because I heard that he is the only architect who comes and does the drawings again after one project is done.
Yeah.
He redoes the work, all the entire drawings.
Yes,
right? Is that
that's
correct?
absolutely true. So we have to always wait for every detail to be approved by him. So like I said, only thing is you need to have patience and wait for a lot of time to make sure that we can push through to the next stage.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, this is Architect Amita. This is looking more like an I5 series than I3 because only we are asking the questions. But thank you, three of you. Great presentations, very different journeys. Each of you had a lot to share. Thank you for that. My question is for you, Rajat. Initial stage of your career, you work with Zahadi's office. And her famous quote is, when we have 360 degrees, why stick to one? So when it's in the initial stage, definitely you get to absorb a lot. And her concept and the way she thinks, could you actually apply in the present? Like, do you think it's easy to get that kind of client now where, you know, her, I think she used a lot of technology and things like that. Still in Hyderabad, when you're practicing here in Hyderabad, are you able, how easy is it to take that kind of philosophy from there till today? You know, application of that now, how is it?
Right. So I think there are some debunks first. Zaha, in general, in person, did not see a lot of projects that getting realized. So probably somewhere around 13, 14 projects in her lifespan, before she passed away, she actually saw it realized. Most of them actually got realized later. When it comes to technology backed design, I think parametrics in general also is a very, very misconstrued notion in, like, per se a layman's language, where we feel like, you know, everything curved, everything fluid is parametrics. But it's actually more analog. It's actually more towards calculative coding, which is how the space is created around the usability of the volume. See, most of the spaces which Zaha has practically designed are towards the public buildings, where the flow in general gave them the designs, right? A public building, the flow is never decided, it's always fluid. So automatically that probably the libraries they did, or you know, the city planning they did, or probably the stations they did, or airports they did, it was always about that, always about the circulation, and the design kind of got, you know, where we say form follows function or function follows form. It was actually a very, very balancing act there, where first it was always function, then form came in, and the form then dictated the function as well. So sometimes, you know, when we break everything and see it in sections, you'll always find it simple. So Zaha's design as well, in general, whatever has been done till date, if you'll see City Life Milan, which we did probably in Milan, it's just a twist of 2 degrees every floor. So it, overall, on the scale it looks something super fluid. But on a micro level, on the floor plate level, it is actually not that much. So again, where I was talking about, you know, see the smaller things and how they all come together, that is what probably Zaha is, and that is what probably I learned from there.
Yeah, it's a spatial experience is what she
Spatial,
creates.
absolutely, yes.
I think we should give it to the students now. We have set the momentum now. Yeah, we have one.
Hello, ma'am. Hello, sir. I'm Kalpana Kribakaran, and I'm a student at JBR Architecture College. So I have a question for all the three of you. So, by the way, thank you so much for the presentation. It was really worth it, and all of us, we did understand a lot from it. So my question is that right after you graduated college, you all did have a lot of work experience from other architects. You all worked at different places. So when did you know that it was the right time to start your own firm or your studio? Like, how do you figure it out? When did you realize it?
So, to be honest, for me, it was a very, very natural progression because I kind of worked at certain places around, came back from there. In India, you know, the whole setup is very, very different to work, right? Of course, you guys would have probably, or maybe now we'll go for internships, you'll understand that the way Indian offices work is a very different ball game than how international offices work altogether. So so I came here as a dedicated urban designer for a project, which was city like this one, Amravati, the capital region. When that got shut, Mr. Chandrababu Naidu lost the elections, and then the city got shut as on planning level. So the choices were to either to go back or to start something. But you know, after a point when you have worked probably at certain scales, then you feel a yearning of doing something for yourself, a yearning of probably what you have to give back, right? When you're working with a lot of different designers, when we are having conversations with everyone, they all have their own things which they have contributed, you know. So after a point of working with people, you also have that inkling that, okay, what can you give back, right? So that probably that small thought gave inception to what we are doing today.
I have a very clear answer to that because it's something we've been thinking about because we've been trying to keep employees with us for a longer period of time and everybody wants to learn everything in the first 3 months and 6 months. And so we've created a course, meaning like after you graduate, year 1, what are you learning? Year 2, what are you learning? Year 3. And so in doing that, I try to understand what it takes to be an entrepreneur by yourself. And you might get great at managing one project, but that's not what is required to run your own studio. You are a multitasker. You have to manage multiple projects and still know every detail of every project. You're looking into accounts, you're looking into admin. If you think you are good and you reached a point where you can look into all these aspects is when you're ready for a studio. If it's just one project and you feel like you've seen the entire project from the start to the end, and you think that you've done a good job at doing that, it's not enough. So I would say see through at least 5 or 6 projects from the beginning till the end and reach a place in the studio that you're working in where they're giving you a senior level position where you're managing 3 or 4 projects at once. If you're able to do that is when you're ready.
For me, I think I did mention that I always wanted to be an architect. So it was pretty natural for me to think ultimately I wanted to practice on my own. So I was just gaining as much knowledge as possible. And then one fine day, just felt like I'm now ready. So I had a conversation with my mentor, Sudhir Reddy, and he asked me a lot of questions. And then it took at least about a few months to convince him. And then finally, it was like a letting go of moment, and that's how I just started. And he helped me even after that. So it was pretty gradual or organic that way.
Also, to one more thing to add onto this is to know yourself first, because you know there are some people who need push to swim, and some people who need a coach to swim. All right, so it's very, very individualistic. You know, if you think and if you're prepared that okay, I'll go into the place, I'll get my own exposure, absolutely. But you have to be a hard metal for that. All right, and if you think, no, I need certain guidance and then get into it, absolutely, that's another way. So both the ways are right, both the ways are parallel. You know, something works for someone, something works for somebody else. You wanted them to ask questions, now they're asking questions.
This is Maunia from GSA Hyderabad. My question, okay, so basically Meghana ma'am has told her COVID story and how she could come back from it. My question is to the other two as to like how could you come back from the COVID? Like I think sir has just started his thought of his business at that time. So how did both of you come back to it?
You wanna go first? So I think COVID actually for a lot of people, it probably was a pause. For us, it was a meditative time, to be very honest, because we started it and both of us were new to the country. New to the country as in after you spent a lot of time outside, right? You get a little pampered and a lot of things change in life when you come back and get the hard stuff done, right? So for us to probably formulate what we have to do, we really got a very nice buffer. Of course, it should not be said like that today, but the phase 2 of COVID, when it was probably a wave 2, which we call 2021, where there was this 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. only working in Hyderabad. This was the only city in India which was still working. At that point, we established Hyderabad office because both of us also wanted to work, right? We wanted to be in some zone which is saner, not to watch Netflix probably 36 hours that straight. So it gave us real time to sit down and think, okay, we have started something, but what it is about, what is the real meat behind the situation of thought process, what we want to put in, formulate the ideas of what the studio should be about, and then go ahead. So it kind of gave us that little bit of breather in between. Because today's life, everybody's like running around. Yeah. So like today's presentation, while I was making this presentation, actually I went back to everything I did in my life. And then I realized that, we are always on the go. We don't really stop and think what we really did or what we're doing probably, what we did yesterday as well. So yeah, COVID was that for us at least.
To add to that, it was pretty similar to me as well. It was a good pause. I was continuously working before for another practice where there were a lot of projects, and then at the same time also doing a lot of freelance work. So suddenly getting that pause was good for me to reflect and come to a certain the approach towards what I would want my practice to really be like. It was a good time to really reflect and come up with that, and then moving forward was much nicer because I had certain direction set and the practice evolved much more smoothly after that. If that wasn't there, I think it would have been a lot more chaotic.
I think we are running out of time. We'll just take that last question if that is okay. And
guys,
I wish from here onwards we'll have longer session for question and answer because this is where the students want to interact.
You both can ask it together probably.
Okay, both ask together, is how Rajat suggested.
Okay, so when you're a student, most of the learning is like the subjective learning. And when you go to your internship, it completely shifts into a different world. It's like completely practical. So how do you think a student can bridge that gap when they're still in their bachelor's era?
By attending sessions like this.
So do practical science. We are probably doing both. That's why we're a little more exposed. But every day we are also students. So this being student in design never changes. Until the time you're a student, you'll always grow, Like 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. It's the same thing when you come back or come on our side as well.
I'd like to add to that. Don't be too eager for the next step of your life. I think just enjoy this because in here, your projects don't have budgets. They don't have any real constraints. So I think the idea is to really explore your imagination and creativity because it could literally be anything. And when you enter the real life, it is happening anyway. It's coming. What we can tell you is to be strong and be prepared for it. But don't be too eager. Don't skip a step. Don't skip ahead. Enjoy this life first.
Be wild, guys, when you're thinking about design. Just think about anything random, Just think out of the box because the box actually gets trapped when you are on our side. Okay. Oh, absolutely. The design awards. We'll plug it here. All right, guys. Everybody participate in that.
Hi, I'm Shruti from JPR Architecture College. So this question is for three of you. After working for so many years, you have this one kind of thinking that you approach to any kind of design, be it any residential, industrial, whatever it is. But is there any design that kind of fundamentally changed the way you thought about concepts, conceptual thinking or something like that? And if yes, how did it change?
So like I was mentioning, every project you learn something. So it's a continuous process. There is no, you must be visualizing. Movies give that a lot of wow moment where life changes completely. That's not how it is. Every step, every project teaches you something and you keep evolving. And just be embracing that and don't like deny any of the whatever thoughts that come to you, the feeling or the gut feeling, what we call. Just embrace that and understand that and then keep going ahead.
I think that would be my own house when I designed this year. When I wore the hat of a client, I think a lot of things. I have let's say I have a lot more patience, a lot more empathy for the clients. I think that really shifted the way that my systems and everything were operating, because I saw how, ground reality, I think I got to understand after 10 years. So that really kind of shook things up for me. But yeah, always client comes first, especially in India. No matter how big your contract is, it's always the relationship with your client, because nobody's really going to a court with that contract. So just make sure you have the right relationship with your client, and everything is kind of designed around that experience. So that shook things up for me.
Yeah, I guess what she said, conceptualize your client, to be very honest, and start it from now. Like probably early on when we were designing our thesis as well, we would always assume that, there is a client. And what would, if that person, let's say, is a billionaire entrepreneur, what would he think? And also what helps is reading books, because that probably gives you a third eye view of the world, where you can really imagine everything. A character could be anyone. His name might be some X or Y or Z, but that X for you in the book is somebody you already have imagined, right? So that imaginative power comes through that. Attach that. So everything you start with, probably, read half a book or something like that, a story or something, and then probably start, so you'll relate more, your imaginative skills would be better. At the same time, concept is client, here, be good listeners every time. Here for you, when you're studying, probably your teachers are your clients, treat them like that. Everybody, because again, they also have seen the practical world, right? So what they are telling you is the practical thing. But that's probably a framework. You don't have to be in that, you have to be around that, all right? So that helps us, that would help you as well. Right? Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, all the speakers, for having been so patient with our students, and for the students to gradually open up and ask you a bit of questions that you had. And this almost brings us towards the end of the ceremony, and this is where we have the felicitation of our IIID speakers, for which I would like to request IID HRC Chairperson, Architect N. Praveen Kumar, to please come forward. We have a group picture. I request all the students to please stay back. The moment I say it is the end, we see students leaving. Just stay back for another 5 minutes. For all the ones who have just got up there, can I request you all to be please seated for another 5 minutes? Thank you. Thank you so much for being so patient. Because when we have such a nice crowd, we really want to have a group picture and be happy to see that we had a presence of this kind. I request IIHRC Chairperson, Architect N. Praveen Kumar, to come forward. I also request Architect Professor Srinivasa, Architect Professor Vinod Ganesh sir, to please come forward for this felicitation ceremony. Thank you. I request IID HRC Honorary Secretary, Architect Rakesh Vasu, to come forward too. And we would like to felicitate Architect Anuja Dhopade. Please come forward for the felicitation. Thank you. Thank you so much, Rakesh. I want the three of you to stay as a constant for the remaining two speakers. The next, we would like to felicitate architect Meghna Nimagada. And here I would request IID HRC Chairperson-elect, architect Amita Raj, to come forward. Big round of applause, please. Thank you. Center, I think Meghna can come in the center there. So that way it will be center. Last but not the least, architect Rajat Sangvi would want to felicitate, and this is where I would like to call IID HRC Honorary Treasurer, architect Naveen Chalsani, and architect Ruxana Chena. Thank you so much, Naveen and Ruxana. And this is the moment we are very happy to see that Vinod Ganesh sir and Srinivas sir stayed all through the presentation, and we would want to felicitate both of them together. Request. Thank you so much. So just one quick word. We have a vote of thanks for which I would request architect Rakesh Vasu to come forward. But I would also like to acknowledge, because Bhavani, I think, is here. Ms. Bhavani from TTWRFA, Sirsala. Why are you sitting at the back? These people took an hour's time to come, like they are from Sirsala, which is very far from here. Those who are from here would understand. They always take this initiative. So earlier it was Tapanvita. This time Bhavani took all the pain to get her students all the way from there. So thank you so much, Bhavani. Please take your seat here. We'll have a group photograph with all the faculty coordinators towards the end of the event. If I'm missing out on any faculty coordinator, it is my request to please tell us so that we will acknowledge them.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank each and every student, the faculty coordinators for coming from outstation also and from various parts of the city. And I would like to thank all the students who have attended this event in large numbers and making it very memorable. We actually don't have this much of crowd. This is the first time I think we hang house full. I thank the principal, architect Vinod Ganesh sir, architect Srinivas sir, and all the HODs of various colleges for granting us this permission to conduct this event in the auditorium. I thank today's sponsors, Stellar, Darpan, and Elevate, for their continued support to educational events and activities. The speakers who have presented, I thank them very much for their absorbing presentations, and who have shared their journey and projects that were of immense information to the students. And I thank all the faculty coordinators of all their colleges for coordinating, involving the students and getting them actively participate in today's I3 series. I thank architect Sushmita Supadi, education coordinator, IIID HRC, for all the coordination with various college heads and making this event more valuable to the students' fraternity. And lastly, I would like to thank my chairperson, architect Praveen, and the entire managing committee. Yeah, and I also thank the Kriya committee who is present here in this hall. They are the ones who are going to be very active for the next events going forward. And the back-end staff, Srinath and Jabbar, and for the guidance and coordination. So thank you very much. Hope to see you for the next events, for the awards, and for the IDQ. Thank you very much, please.
So I would request to have a group photograph. So before we take it with the students, I request all the MC, JNFU principal, our Srinivas sir, Director of Academic and Planning, the speakers, the Kriya committee members, Anushka, Aman Raj, Suman ma'am, all the faculty coordinators from all the colleges. As a request, before we take a group photograph with the students, if we can just have a quick photograph with all of you, because it would not have been possible without your coordination. If we have the head of the departments from all the different colleges, Saidulu sir, please come forward. They are not the faculty coordinators, they are faculty from various colleges. I request all of you to please come forward, because together we are going to make a lot of difference in the upcoming events. And thank you all for making it. It does mean a lot to all of us.
Excuse me, ma'am. Okay.
Now we request all the students, I don't know how the photographer is going to put us all in one frame, but I request all of you to please come forward, because we want to have a nice picture with all of you together. Please, all of you come. Acha. We have people suggesting, so please follow the orders.
I think you can stand wherever you are and then we will reverse.
Okay. Well, look here, look here.
Let them come here, near the stage.
Okay. Sir, look here, sir.
You want to stand there or you want to come here?
Yeah, wait. 1 second, look here. Okay.
मिलेंगे 3 गुना पैसे वापस.
All of you, please come.
Okay, please come on. Please, quickly. This will be a historic photograph. Please come.
Come this side, we have some space here. You have to find your space. Make space. I think all of if you're hungry right now, so we have snack boxes arranged for you. So please don't leave without it. But first, the group picture. Thank you so much.
For all the faculty coordinators, anything which you would want to know about the membership forms, Srinath is right there. You can connect with him. If at all you have your forms ready with you, please pass it on to him. Secondly, for the IDQ, every faculty member is requested to send list of 3 student members. So that can be shared with Srinath. Thank you.
Excuse me. If you are visible in that also.